basic balloon garland. You want to start with a bag of 17-inch balloons and a bag of 11-inch balloons in the same color. You're also going to need 5-inch balloons, but those aren't shown here yet. This is the 17-inch, and this is the 11-inch. What you're going to see next is I'm going to show you how I test. You can see that fully blue nozzle is the one that runs the machine. So you want to put your big balloon on the fully blue nozzle so that when the smaller balloon finishes airing up, you can pull it right off the machine without interrupting yourself and finish blowing up the larger balloon. Next, you want to press the balloons into your stomach, let out some air so that they will round out. So you're pressing it in while letting out a little bit of air so that your balloons will round out. You want them round as much as possible. Once you're done with that, you're going to wrap it 3 times and then you're going to tie it. This is going to keep air from going out and it'll keep your balloons lasting longer. Now you're going to get 2 11-inches. You saw that the first one was a 17-inch and an 11-inch. These are 2 11-inches, the same size balloon. You're going to let out your air again to round this out. You're going to twist it again 3 times and then you're going to tie it. So now you're going to take your 2 sets and you're going to twist them, and this is what we call a quad. Next, you're going to take 2 more. These are both 11-inch balloons. Right now we're working on making a cluster. You're going to hear me talk about a cluster a lot, and this is what we're making right now. You're going to do the same thing to make these 2 balloons. You've got these 2 same size 11-inch balloons. Take any of the small balloons, any of the 11 inches, and twist your new set into that. And this is what we have. We've got 1 more before we're done with our cluster. So these are 2 more 11 inches. You're going to do the same thing, blow them up, let out the air, round these guys out. You're going to twist them and tie them just like you've been doing. Now for this one, what you're going to see is that in our existing balloon group, you've got a big balloon and then underneath it there's 1 small one that's kind of on its own. So you're going to wrap your new ones around that smaller 11-inch balloon. That's what you're going to twist it into. And that is your cluster. This is what a fully completed cluster looks like. So we're going to make more of these. For a 4.5 foot backdrop, you're going to want to make 6. So if you're doing 1 solid color, you're going to want 6 clusters of that same color. If you're doing 3 colors, make 2 clusters per color. And for the one that I'm making here, I'm actually going to be making this just 2 colors. And so I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do 4 of each, because I'm going to make this a little bit bigger than I would make a normal basic garland. I'll show you the difference between that later. But if you're going to do 2 colors, you could do 3 of each color cluster. So what you're going to do again is just rinse and repeat. A really common one I see is using 3 colors. And when you're using 3 colors, you can either kind of stack the colors where, let's say you're doing red, white, and blue. As we approach 4th of July, you could do red, red, white, white, blue, blue. That way you're just doing, 3 colors stacked on top. Or, and I'll show you pictures of this, you can do red, white, blue, red, white, blue. And so it really depends on the look you want. But the base of any look and the base of any color group is these clusters. So again, if you are using 1 color, that's easy. Make 6 of that color. If you're doing 2 colors, you're going to make 3 of each color. And if you're doing 3 colors, you're going to make 2 clusters of each color. This gets faster as you go. You'll learn to be more quick. And we're just going to keep making these clusters. And then once we've made all of the clusters for this arch, I'm going to show you how we attach them together. There's a handful of methods. This is also not the only method for clusters, but this is the one that I use, and this is the one that I found a lot of professionals used when I was first learning balloons. So this is going to be our starting point. I am going to show another method in a future course. And then there's a handful of methods on how to attach these clusters to each other and to your backdrop. We'll go through a few of those as well. To attach the balloons today, we're going to use a lamp stand from Walmart. This is their like $10 Walmart brand lamp. You just get it out of the box, assemble it, and cut out the wires and the lamp part. Okay, now we're going to attach our clusters to our lamp stand. We've got one of each. I'm going to show you the back side. So the side you're seeing right now is the side that you will not see on your actual display. This will be the back. You always, after you put your pole in, you always want to twist two balloons to lock it in. Two that are on opposite sides of the pole. That's if you wanted to alternate colors. This is what I'm going to do. So if you wanted to alternate colors, this is where you would put in your white. You see how the 17-inch balloons, I'm putting them on opposite sides. So on the first cluster, the 17-inch balloon is on the left, and on the second cluster, I'm facing it on the right. You're going to go back and forth. So the next one will be left again, then right again, then left again. We're going to speed it up a little bit to show that. And now we're going to switch colors for my purposes here. Like I said, there's 6 total clusters that are going to go on this lamp stand. Since I'm doing 2 colors, I'm doing 3 yellows at the bottom, a white, and then 2 whites, and then a yellow. This is a 260 balloon. We're taking a quick pause so I can show you how to make your 260 balloon rings. This is going to be needed for the next step. You're going to need a bunch of these. You'll see throughout the videos, these are on my wrists. These are the same balloons folks use to make balloon animals. So you're going to put your top, so normally my last cluster fits on my lamp stand. I can just twist it in. But for this particular one, I don't think I squished my balloons down as much as I normally do. So I'm going to use a 260 to attach my final cluster into my column. What you do with the 260 is you're going to wrap it around 2 balloons from your first column and 2 balloons from the one you're attaching it to make it stable. Now, I am making this one more voluminous on the right, but I don't always do that. I'm actually going to pause here to show you what it would look like if you left it. If you left it with just one cluster stacked up, you're going to get something like these 2 right here. These are examples of times that I did that. The only thing you would add is your 5-inch clusters, which I'll show you later. So you could stop right there, cluster one after the other on the stand. Now I'm showing you what you're going to do if you wanted to add more volume. As you saw, I attached a cluster, another 2 yellow clusters down at the bottom. And now I'm filling in a little bit of the white. Now it took a little bit of experimenting here to figure out how many balloons were needed to make it just the right amount of volume. And so some amount of organic balloon stands like this is experimenting. So I landed on just 2 balloons and twisting them into an existing one. And then you can go look and see, how it looks and what you need to change. Now I'm adding my last yellow balloon cluster. I'm using the 260 bracelets that you can see on my wrist there. Again, you twist it around 1 or 2 of the balloons in the cluster you're attaching, and then 1 or 2 of the balloons in the cluster you're attaching it to. And then I'm finding all of the spaces that need to be filled in, and I'm determining, do we need 1, 2, 3, 4 balloons to fill that in, creating those clusters or the 2 tied together, and then again using 260s to attach those balloons where I want them. Time for the finishing touches. These are 2 5-inch balloons. which I mentioned earlier that you would need in all of your colors. You're going to blow it up with 4 pumps from a hand pump. I hold them together like this. Then you pump your second. It's a little bit awkward when you're first getting started or filming it for the first time, but you'll see, you'll get the hang of it. You let out air to try to get them in more of a round shape. And then it's the same thing. You're going to twist 3 times just like you would of your bigger balloons. You're going to tie it together. And you have your first little set of 2. We're going to do this first one slowed down so that you can see. We're going to do 2 more the same way. 4 pumps, let out the air, hold it. 4 pumps on a second one, let out the air so it's smaller and rounder. Twist 3 times and tie. Now you're going to take both sets and you're going to twist these together. I'm going to twist them this way and this way. And now we're just going to make a handful of these in each color. There are some folks that have a set number. They do 2 or 3 of these per cluster of balloons. For me, I like to make a handful and just see where I need them. So these are filling in empty spaces where your garland might need it. It's gonna make it look grander than just the 17 and 11. So I'm gonna show you how I do this. So here you've got a space. You can see that that space needs a filler. So I'm gonna take my 260 bracelet. I'm gonna wrap it around just one balloon. And now it's going to easily attach. Because this space is so big, this particular cluster, one balloon is going to tuck into that hole. That's not always the case. So you can see here only 3 balloons are showing because one is tucked into the hole. But if you're going to see with these next ones, all 4 balloons are going to be visible. So you can see that that one didn't have a big hole. So there's more of this cluster visible, but this is just filling in gaps and blank spots. One of my favorite things to do with these is make them look like they're one big line, like they're all connected by putting them on balloons that are close to each other. But that's a little bit more advanced and we'll go through that more in a future course. For now, we're just going to use them as fillers. The more beginner friendly way is literally just to use them where you need them. Now we're going to take our 260 bracelet, and I need some bigger balloon fillers for this particular garland. So I'm going to take my 260 and I'm going to tie it around the tail of an 11-inch individual balloon. Then I'm going to take both of those little tails and I'm going to wrap them again and tie them around the tail. You can tie this however way you feel is secure though. This is how I felt it was secure. But basically your goal is to get the 260 attached to your balloon in whatever way you are able to. It doesn't have to be any specific technique. And then I'm finding the area that needs the filler balloon and I'm just wrapping that 260 around it, and so then I can maneuver it from there. So I'm going to do this a few more times with a handful of additional sizes. This is actually one of the bigger balloons. What I have here is one of the 17-inch balloons because this particular garland needed more of these individual balloon fillers. But I have done garlands before where I only used the 5-inch fillers, so this is entirely up to you. This is where you get to use your creativity. Some folks like more of the larger balloons kind of on the side where you can see them making a difference there. And so it really just depends on your preference here. Again, like I said, I've done it where the only fillers are 5-inch balloons, especially if it's the kind where I just used one row of clusters and didn't add volume off to the side. So this part is, where you get to really make it fun and make it shine and go off the beaten path to make it really yours. As you can see, my wrist is full of these 260 bracelets. You're going to want and need that. It's going to make your life a lot easier as you go to just have those pre-prepared and tie them. It's going to help you move along a lot faster. Once I got in some of those bigger filler balloons, I got a couple more 5-inch clusters and started filling those in. This is the part that you really won't know what you need until you know. You get to kind of move things around, and as you can see there, I added a balloon, and then you could see the 260 balloon, so I had to add a cluster to make that up. And so sometimes you can be the cause of needing another filler. Now I'm bringing in a foam backdrop. I want to show you what this garland's going to look like beside a backdrop. So I'm going to bring that in. This is a 4.5 foot tall backdrop. It's plain white. It's going to have a print on it, but just for a visual, that's how seamlessly it looks next to a backdrop. And this is what it would look like live at an event. I hope this course helps.